Mike, let me ask you a question. I want to start this, and it's you cover this in your book, and that is this whole classified document. Obviously, you're not talking about what's happened in the last few months, but it started with classified documents in former President Trump's possession. Then it was classified documents in the current president's possession when he was the vice president and when he was in the Senate. Now it's multiple locations. Now it's former Vice President Pence. You know, I said the mistake that Merrick Garland made was appointing a special counsel. I've always said that that regulation should be removed. It causes nothing but problems because if you didn't have a special counsel, at this point the Attorney General could say, you know what, this is obviously a much broader issue than I thought or that we thought. We got to handle it differently. Don't make everything a criminal case, but they did. But how do you see this playing out? You dealt with classified information. What's your thoughts?
Look, on this classified document issue, I much like the vice president, I would have had a secure facility in my home. We would have had thousands of classified documents there. The responsibility is each of us to do them well, right? Put them where they're supposed to be, lock them in the safe at night, close the door. Somehow that appears not to have happened. My core concern here is really twofold. One, I hope Congress gets a chance to see what was in those documents because we need to know if there was something serious and created any risk and then go mitigate that risk. So the reason for classification is important. If these aren't, or if it's nothing, that's good news. Then we've got a separate problem. Second, make sure everybody gets treated the same. And I mean that in two ways. One, don't treat Trump one way, Pence another, and Biden yet another. These are serious things. When we have classified documents to be handled, everyone should be treated equitably. And then I write in Never Give an Inch about this very issue. When I was a young soldier, I handled classified information then too, 40 years ago. Make sure we don't just prosecute junior people. Whatever the standard is for proper handling of these and whatever the accountability mechanisms, it should be the same for everyone.
So there's a very interesting section of this, and of course, I dealt with it, and that is you discuss Adam Schiff, who Kevin McCarthy has refused, along with Eric Swalwell, to put on the Intelligence Committee. I want to get your reaction to that move by Speaker McCarthy first. What was your thoughts on that?
Fundamentally the right decision. I'm very happy that Speaker McCarthy made that decision. I served with Adam Schiff when I was a member of the House Intelligence Committee. And then I dealt with him when I was at the CIA, and he was the chair of the House Intelligence Committee, or senior member on the House Intelligence Committee. We would send stuff to them, and it would come out. And it was almost certainly him and his staff that leaked that information. And as I've written and talked about, that's just indecent. It's not right. He had a very sensitive position, and then he used that position to go out and tell lies to the American people that he had to have known weren't true about the Russia hoax. He kept saying, wait, folks, you're going to see all this. And you, of course, never saw it. We now know the only collusion appears to have been between McConnell, an FBI guy who's now clearly was on the payroll of a Russian oligarch, so working inside of Comey's FBI. No evidence of collusion between Donald Trump and the Russians. And the hoax went on, and Adam Schiff was the primary deliverer of that hoax. It hurt our ability to execute our foreign policy, Jay.
I want to play. This is a clip we put together of Adam Schiff. It only takes about 45 seconds. And all the statements he made about the evidence in plain sight of collusion between the former president and the Russians.
So there's clear evidence on the issue of collusion, and this adds to that body of evidence. There's ample evidence of collusion in plain sight, and that is true.
Have Democrats found any evidence of collusion?
Yes, we have. You can see evidence in plain sight on the issue of collusion, pretty compelling evidence. And there is significant evidence of collusion. There is ample evidence, and indeed there is, of collusion of people in the Trump campaign with the Russians. I think there's plenty of evidence of collusion or conspiracy. All of this is evidence of collusion. There is significant evidence of collusion between the campaign and Russia.
On page 17 and 18 of your book, you get into this whole Adam Schiff matter where he was leaking. You know, my experience, and by the way, I laughed out loud audibly when I was reading this, when you talk about the president and talking about this whole thing with Mueller and the whole probe, and he called you my Mike, which I was my Jay. I don't know if that was a good thing or a bad thing. I'm still trying to figure that out. Yeah,
only time will tell. Yes.
Yeah, we'll find out. I guess you may find out sooner than not. So yeah, my Jay always followed up with something that required a lot of sleepless nights for the next week.
That's about right.
Yeah. Let me ask you this: in writing the book, you're reliving the kind of the key moments of your time there, Never Give an Inch. You got this great story that's developed out of the Middle East. You had the Abraham Accords, which were great, totally changed the whole Middle East dialogue. And then you had the situation with the school in Doha, the Jewish day school that took place, just opened in the last few days. That had to be a great moment for you when you heard that and read that this is how far it's come in such a short period of time.
Oh, it's amazing. It's completely amazing, right? When the Emiratis launched their fighter planes today, it's not to attack Israel. It's to fly in formation alongside them. I mean, it's just like an idea that's just crazy 10 years ago. And it took a lot of us. It's not just me. It was Jared Kushner, Stephen Mnuchin, Ambassador Friedman, Prime Minister Netanyahu, a great group of leaders who all figured this was a nutty situation and made peace with Israel. It's really a glorious change in history. And for everybody who's out there listening, it's less likely that your child, your son, your daughter will have to go fight in the Middle East as a result of what we did. And that always, for me, was the most important thing, keeping our kids safe, keeping our country safe.
Yeah, I'm holding in my hand, for those that are seeing us on TV or on our social media platforms, this is a pen that is I was given as a gift in Israel when I was representing the Israelis the first time before, maybe in the second time, before the International Criminal Court in The Hague. And it's obviously it's blue and white, it's the color of the Israeli flag. It was the 50th anniversary of the modern state of Israel's recognition. And, when you think about the modern history of Israel, it's not a long time here. But I cannot think of another event that matches what happened with the Abraham Accords under your watch, because while you had other, peace attempts, they never really materialized to anything. They could have, but they were always thwarted. This took a totally new approach by getting other allies involved, not just the Palestinian-Israel conflict, but getting the greater Middle East involved. And I think it's paid off unbelievable dividends already. And you discuss that at length in the book, by the way. It's called Never Give an Inch, Fighting for the America I Love. That had to be that whole situation in the Middle East has to be very gratifying.
Yeah, we did good work there, good work for the American people there. We had Iran as isolated and as broke as they have ever been. We made it clear to the whole world, the United States, Israel, not an inch of daylight between us. We're going to work on the security issues. We're going to work on the important faith issues together. We're going to be partners all the way through. And that combination let these Arab nations come to see that their position on Israel was just didn't make sense. And now that's benefiting America. It's benefiting Israelis who are traveling to Abu Dhabi and to Doha and to Bahrain. And it's just really remarkable stuff. And I think that's going to stick, because it turns out it's in the best interest of the people of each of those countries to work together, to do security together, and to build their economies together.
Logan, I'm going to ask the Secretary this, but is it correct that Adam Schiff, in announcing his next move politically, went to TikTok?
Yeah, he started on TikTok, and he really started on there not only to say what he was doing, but also to just have deep sorrow and sadness that he'd been removed from the committees, and he just had this emotional,
and of all the
depressing
platforms he went to,
of course, the one that everyone's saying to get off of.
So, Mike, you've been very concerned about China and concerned about TikTok, and that's what Adam Schiff chose to go on. You can't make this stuff up.
You cannot make it up. It's absolutely mind-boggling. It's surprising he didn't make the announcement with Eric Swalwell and his girlfriend standing next to him. Right? It's just it is crazy to say you're going to try to attract people to this thing that I know Adam Schiff knows is presenting a risk to America. It's just, I think it tells you a little bit about who he is and what he values, and it's mostly Adam Schiff that he is interested in.
The book by Secretary Pompeo, our Senior Counsel for Global Affairs, called Never Give an Inch, Fighting for the America I Love. It's available at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, wherever you get your books. We encourage you to get it. It is a great read. Fantastic book. Thanks for being on. Congratulations on the book.
Thank you all.
Great job. Thanks as always.